We are able to pass over to our casters now as well. Give them some airtime because you know they can do great things with it. It's going to be Henry G and Sadekist manning the desk.
Usually I don't do a great job with it, but I try.
You try your hardest, and that's all we can ever expect.
How was your weekend?
It was good. Went to Stockholm and was filming some content, got some documentaries done, some upcoming Swedish stars and all that sort of stuff, so look out for that. What did you get up to?
Plotting to kill UPS and playing Final Fantasy VII for 36 hours without moving. Ordered Deliveroo to a window that was behind me, so I literally didn't even have to get up.
Just leaning out the desk.
Reached through the window. The guy actually started knocking on the window. He got used to where I was. Reaching through the window, grabbing the food, plastic fork, and just kept playing Final Fantasy VII.
That's a pretty nice
I don't think
weekend.
I moved unless I had to sleep.
Perfect. Well, that's a pretty gamer weekend if I have to I've ever heard of one. So it's going to be another game we get into. Back to Counter-Strike, back to your basics. So G2 versus Flipside, Matthew. Nuke as well, a map we like to discuss a lot. We've actually been casting a lot more recently. G2, one of the teams that seems to have been adopting it more than others, I would say, in terms of we have seen they've got some tactical depth on this. Flipside, I can't really comment on. I can't think of a moment I've cast them on Nuke. Have you done any of it so far?
No, I haven't. In fact, I don't think I've casted Flipside very much at all, aside from maybe 1 or 2 games since they've made it to the legendary status. So that's pretty impressive. I mean, it's interesting how, you know, with the E-League happening after the major, there was a bit of a break, obviously the 2-week break. It's crazy how some of these teams have just kind of like slipped off the radar and we haven't really seen as much of them.
Yeah, well, I'm interested to see though. This is the first time I've cast them since the major at least, and we'll see whether they can step up. A lot of teams have a lot of rust issues coming from that break, and I don't know, I don't really feel like the same thing will coming from Flipside. The good thing about Nuke is as well, I feel like it's not a map you can just run the defaults, right? I know Flipside are a very regimented team. They definitely have Blade telling them exactly what to do. He has to go in with a set game plan. So I think Nuke, this is probably a great map for them going forward. They could have a really dominant T side. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually end up getting like 5 or 6 rounds. With the current meta, it seems like CT side is still completely overwhelming in terms of the rounds they're picking up.
That's not going to stay that way forever.
No, of course, that's something I really want to actually do a video on. Is kind of just talk about the options available and what we've seen so far. And we're waiting for that one big team to step up, right? I feel like it'll be someone like SK, or maybe the new Fnatic, like adopting this map and this kind of really showing us what you can do with it, what's available, and how it should be played on the T side. At that point, when you have one team that goes really, really stick at one map, then everyone else starts copying them, and then we start to develop something that's actually interesting. That's why Inferno got to that point. It started off when it first came out as a really CT-sided map, but then all of a sudden, towards the end of its reign, we actually started seeing teams actually winning the T-halves pretty convincingly. That wouldn't just be a set game as well. It'd be actually quite a 50-50 experience. So that's how maps develop. It normally takes about a year for us to see exactly what is available and what teams can bring to the table. And that's going to be a really interesting time. At the moment, it's still pretty much the same as the previous iteration league. No one's really impressed me in terms of something really crazy in terms of innovation. But you know, G2 have that pistol round we liked. You remember on the T side, where they had Shoxy on the roofs, and he actually smokes towards heaven at the start of the round, flashes in towards upper as well. That was to divert a lot of attention away from the CT, just to make them drop any utility they had on the upper side, maybe reposition, pull someone away from ramp, and they actually just go strong up towards ramp at that point, trade one frag of the players remaining there, and going up towards the ladder and towards heaven, and actually having that as a shield to get up there as well. I thought that was a really simple but effective strategy to get himself in the upper bomb site. That was one of the new tactics I haven't seen before on Nuke, so that was quite cool to see them actually working out that kind of stuff.
The unfortunate part was that it was so telegraphed that as soon as they did it once on the pistol round, the second time they tried it, the other team was like, all right, we'll just move away from this and watch the smoke.
What was quite cool with that as well, they didn't just do it on the pistol, they chucked it into a few gun rounds as well. But the thing is, like I said, that's the kind of tactic you want to be saving for a big tournament, right? A big like a LAN semi-final. I thought that was like, it was so unique in that way. Like, you're absolutely right. The problem with that one is it's very telegraphed. But I guess at that stage, when people start assuming that's what you're going to do,
well, you need to start mixing it up.
You start doing the opposite. You do the same smoke, the flashbang, without use that flashbang to actually go in the upper side this time. And that's when you actually start playing the mind games of these teams. And that's how you become a very strong in-game leader, when you know those teams are going to be reading your tendencies and you can adapt in that sense. So that's another an option.
Yeah, and I'm gonna further that as well, and say simply that you know, that's how a meta and defaults are established. We talk about the skylights in both this map on Train. They were originally intended to do one set thing, but it's masking that thing so that you can start to create that kind of a shift in the play.
This is something I thought NIP did very well on this map. Obviously, they're one of the teams that like to fall into the idea of doing the same smokes every single round, right? And shooting out those windows that you mentioned. The idea of those smokes every round, normally you are going to send 2 or 3 players down towards secret, and that's great, and it takes away a lot of the vision for the CTs. They have to react naturally. But as soon as you do that a few times, they were actually sending Exist there by himself after a while, and actually allowing him to go down lower by himself. The rest of the team, they're ready to go towards upper. So that's when you've baited someone out the upper side, potentially got themselves towards lower, or just maybe in the vents, and you've got yourself a man advantage the upper side. So it's just having that awareness. Like, doing the same thing every round is definitely beneficial to a Counter-Strike team as a whole. It keeps the CTs guessing. And we'll see, like I said, the windows, just to break that down as well. You're shooting at the windows at the beginning of every single round, regardless of you using them. So you can't be telegraphed, oh, the shot at the windows, I'll probably use them this round. They actually have no tell as to when you're going to be throwing the Molotovs or the flashbangs through that area. So there's definitely rooms to explore those kind of ideas. And something like, I wish I was still playing. This is the kind of stuff I used to love when new maps came in. And this kind of
so why don't you, Henry?
Because I just don't want to waste my life and just be...
Well, is that what this is? A waste of life?
The teams I would create these days would be a waste of life.
Okay. I see.
These guys definitely not. This is living the dream. You're getting paid a lot of money to play a good video game. That's
Henry
amazing.
Thinks that being a player is a waste of life. Confirmed. And just takes advantage of their
waste of my life.
Industry to cash out while talking.
It would be a waste of my life. I wish I still had the skill to even consider being a top player anymore, but I've done that. I've lived that dream. I'm old now.
If I can get 3 rounds in you in a one-on-one, you clearly aren't a pro player.
True.
So.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. But yeah, just the excitement of like having these new maps, thinking like, what can we bring to the table? Who can we can be the one to define a new strategy that everyone starts using. That was always really cool, especially like when you'd watch another top team play and they started using strategies you came up with on your own server. That's like a really nice feeling. Although you're a little bit salty about it, but it's cool. Like to know, okay, well, we
I know the feel. I know the feel.
It was always quite a nice moment. But it looks like we all got 10 players on. The pings are actually a little bit unstable. So Body's got like 140, Shock's at 100. So I'm not sure this will be starting anytime soon. It looks like it's maybe a potential server issue. I'm not sure. But hopefully it looks like maybe we're starting. Judging by the overlay coming in, that normally signals we're going into it.
So 0-3. Yeah,
I was going to say, I thought this would be a map Flipside would be lovely.
Good at, especially with Bleed.
Yeah, right? Like, it's one of those maps you don't necessarily have to rely on the defaults. You can go into set strategies at the start if you want to. And there's a lot of options available for TC. I thought this would be something he would love. But you never know. We haven't watched him play it, so that's only me speculating, of course. So, map record for G2, 3-1. Key player Shocks, of course. He seems to be in amazing form right now. The first week of Pro League was pretty rusty, but when he came back, he seemed to put the hours in. He was just completely crazy again. They're so good in the individual situations. You can never discount him in a clutch as well. He definitely is up there for me in the top 5 in the world. Like when he's on form as well, potentially can be punching for #1.
The others would be Def, Surreal, Rattlesnake, and Weber.
Yeah,
gotcha.
They would be displaying.
Probably in that order.
Yeah, I think so. Looks like we're into it, Matthew.
Well, finally we are. We've got Flipside and G2. You're pointing out something quite interesting, a ping issue already for Shocks and Body. 100 ping and 140 ping, respectively.
Maybe it's just a GoTV thing, you know? Maybe it's fine.
Yeah, maybe. But maybe not.
Because that's like playing NA sort of stuff.
We had an issue with that at the apartment the other night where every server I joined through the matchmaking client rather than with a direct IP, I had 130 ping, and it is abysmal.
Well, let's get into it. It is the first map of this, not best of two separate series, and it's going to be 4 sets of armor for the CTs, Blade with the defuse kit, and we'll have a look. Whoever Shocks will do that same smoke. Can we jump to him and just see what he's doing? Is it, yeah, there it is. Smoke towards heaven. So that goes in, and let's see if it goes towards ramp. They do the exact same strategy. We know what this is about.
So that one doesn't land perfectly in the back of heaven. I'm wondering if that's changed from last time to leave a slight gap so they can still push through it, but they're going to push the player back at heaven. Or rather, excuse me, at hell. Blade will go down at heaven. Now the smoke's in place. Shocks just has to wait for them to try and push through. They've got the control of upper side already, and he watches vents. Good calls. Way later rotates in. Good shot as well. As Markelov goes off toward Mini. So you called it, Henry. We saw that strategy from them before. Flipside potentially had not, and they get caught out, but Shara.
Okay.
He nearly makes it work with 2 quick kills. It still comes down to the fact that G2, well, they had too many members already there.
You could see Flipside were sort of aware that was coming in. They started repositioning themselves. They had a defensive player beneath the ladder. Had he got the CT spawn? That's something we used to run at the time. You actually have one player watching outside who's playing CT spawn and can watch beneath Nest as well. But Didn't really seem to work out for him. He actually rotated a little bit too late, got caught as he was going towards that spawn area, and it was played towards the top of the ladder as well. Got one kill, but shooting downwards in CSGO, especially when you're looking directly down, it's very difficult to control the aim and actually snap onto heads in that respect. So there's always going to be a struggle. And G2, with the pistol that we expected, come out on top, and Shoxy lurking perfectly there. He does the smoke towards heaven. Then he goes to the hut, catching the rotators in main entrance. So very nice stuff from him. Round number 2 is going to be a semi-forced by the Flipside. 2 players not getting armor, of course, Wilded. He's the AWP. Markov as well, a little bit more of a modest fight from him. There is an exchange at the start. Smithster with the MP7 takes down Markov, and he's actually making his way towards heaven, nice and aggressively. And Wilded, he's got a 20 HP. Has no option but just to fall down here, hoping to catch off Smith. So this nice little angle here actually doesn't land the shot. It was a good idea, but at this point, G2 should be able to run away with this round. It's just power and numbers and superior firepower as well. There's Body taking that wide edit, just Shower remaining, and he's got a 5-7 and head armor. 5 players are fine, I'd say, at this point, to try and save the head armor, but that's going to be a pretty difficult task in itself.
Yeah, I would say so. Especially where he's getting chased down before he can get to Turnpike. Another good headshot, though. So Shara showing some accuracy early on in this game. I wonder if that's something that can carry out on throughout, because well, he's come under criticism in the past. He's got a MAC-10 to pick up, can pick up money with this as well. So even though you mentioned trying to save it for the next round, if he gets some money rolling, that's equally as good, because chances are his 5-7 in armor is not going to win the next round for them. It's all about farming up cash for the utility. So he's done a decent job in that respect. He's already up to 3450. He'll buy a P250 as a result, as to will Blade, who is the other one to pick up a kill so far. The rest will just sit pretty, although World Edit. What do we got? We know what Rushley's going to do.
Rush, you know what to do here. We've got the Zeus, and in Pro League, it is tradition that we have to stay on the Zeus player for the entire round. It has
we would have done that with Na'Vi every game, but he got cut, so.
Nice. Well, it's going to be Wild Edit. Top of heaven, not the best position for Zeus, and he's trying to do what he can with the USP. We're not going to see it today. As Shoxy opening things up with the MAC-10. He gets a double kill, and Blade does fight back, but this is another round going in favor of the French side. Markelov just trying to struggle here with the default pistol. He's in towards heaven, surely going to be punished soon. There it is. Body takes him down with a headshot from the AK, keeping 4 players alive as well. The problem is now, with that force buy in the second, G2 are going to be aware there's going to be a situation where they probably don't have to go up against incendiaries. They can do something much faster they want to. An upper rush, for example, could actually be very viable for them. They have a decent spawn. There is World Edit with the AWP who expected this, and he's got a decent spawn as well. That means he can go towards ramp for a fast pick if he wanted to. Traditionally, you just go towards outside, but we'll see what he decides to do. Looks like it could be something a bit different. He is going to go towards ramp.
He lets Shari get ahead of him, though. I wonder if he wants to get flashed.
Okay, he's just smoking him in. So that's the idea. He gives the player who's anchoring ramp. He has the option to use his smoke when he needs to, when he feels pressured. So you can just delay the rush at the start of the round. We have got Smiths on the AWP as well on the T side. So default stuff from GT so far. Nothing flashy or fast like I would have expected on this kind of gun round. But let's see what they can do here to try and work the first pick.
Smith's with his AWP already over top of the boxes. Smoke dissipating. He'll be able to watch toward the top of the secret stairwell. No one playing that position. We haven't seen that as much in the new version of Nuke, to be fair. It seems a lot more passive, I guess you could say, in that outer respect. There's been a few players we've seen try and rotate themselves to it, but the timings don't favor it as much anymore, in my opinion, trying to get all the way through that lower site just to get in position when you can just play a passive at Garage, which is exactly what they're doing instead. It's Markelov who just gets spotted. I think 1 foot showed, and Smith's completely blind as his entire body left in the open. Another World Edit, excuse me, so Smith gets the shot. It's going to be Waylander pulling one back from the hut, using the gap in the smoke, and Shara's pushed through. He's caught them off, but it's just him that remains as he nearly pulled this back to a 2 versus 2. His teammate Waylander went down on the site, and Shara couldn't do anything of it. RPK will pick up a little extra cash for planting the bomb, but it's 4-0 now for G2.
Yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare situation for Flipside, losing that first gun round. Your money's in tatters. It's almost certainly going to be a 5-0 here. That's why I think there's a discussion for Nuke especially. The force behind the second round, the pistols and armor, it's going to be very difficult to make those actually win you rounds, especially with Nuke. It's a very long-range map. If a team just default towards outside and they have its execution, it's not like the old way version Nuke. You can have stack in the rafters area. The positions are a lot harder to manage with just a pistol. And now they are going to be struggling going forward. So it will be a full eco going into round number 5. You can see Shox farming cash once again with the MAC-10. Gets the first headshot as well, and a second. Doesn't get the kill there, but he just seems like he wants to kill absolutely everyone here. He's looking to forget the third towards heaven as well.
Oh, he got blocked.
Did he really?
Yep, Smith's blocked him, but at least he made up for it. That, because he had the crosshair placement correct on the MAC-10. That was very impressive, actually, though, for Shox regardless. And Smith comes in and at least makes up for it, but they get all the kills required. That's a smart buy on G2's part to go for that MAC-10 on Shox. Yeah. We know exactly why they do that. We know exactly that it's probing against, but to go down, that was kind of funny to watch. I love seeing blocks just because, well, you hate to see it, but I love seeing it just because you know inside TeamSpeak they're raging so hard over it.
Well, then there's loads of money here swelling for G2. They know they've got a great advantage here going to round number 6. I think Scream, even after the reinvestment, he's got a like 11k, RPK, similar story as well. But the AWP is out again for World Edit. You can see them actually just focusing on the utility side, not getting head armor here. And then World Edit this time.
Oh, we've lost it.
No, we haven't. It's all fine.
Oh, well.
It's all fine.
I've lost it. Apparently, I was talking to myself in the bathroom and didn't even know.
You do talk to yourself even when I'm in the room not responding. You'll happily talk to yourself, and that's fine.
Yeah, sometimes but when I'm aware of it...
I've never heard of you talking to yourself and no one else in the room. That's kind of weird.
Well, I didn't even know that I was. The producer came up and was like, so you just talking to yourself in the bathroom? I was like, no, was I? He's like, yeah, you were. I was like, nah, I don't think I was. So I've officially lost my mind now, guys, when I'm talking to myself and don't even acknowledge it. Smith's going to try for the same pick again. It's Markelov this time waiting. We've got a secondary player in heaven. That's going to be World Edit with the AWP. He's not susceptible to the flash as much from that angle. As sets around the corner they go, but it's Mini that they'll find Blade instead. So walking in through main, Markelov has to make up for this. Does get one with the M4. Try and swing out past the big crate. Use the gap inside of it, but Waylander, Raptors, he finds one on the way through. A second potentially and finds it. Body down at Squeaky. Smoke there, but no one inside to plant. It's just Shocks that remains, and he might even get that far. As he's tagged up through the wall, Nade's going to take him just one more HP loss out of that, but still Markelov swings back, and good recovery from F3.
Yeah, absolutely. Losing that first pick as well towards main, it seemed like G2 had a perfect opportunity to get towards that side, but holding strong, Waylander and World Edit, trading frags effectively as well, taking the attention away from Heaven and above the hut area as well. You can see G2 tried to have some sort of execution now. I saw Shoxy throwing some utility through the skylights, and he was the last player to come in as well. Unfortunately, M4 actually was superior in that situation. It seemed like he wasn't detected above the hut area. So finding their first round, and they actually managed to keep a decent amount of players alive as well. But still, reset is a definite possibility going forward. As we go into round number 7, G2 with the single AWP once again. Smiths is yet to have any real impact with the picks, but this looks like a set piece coming in. He's actually got the AWP outside. He's shooting at the skylights himself. Screen waiting towards the silo area, and RPK just in a passive position towards outside. We'll see whether they are going to be doing some sort of outside split with RPK coming in the end. But slow and steady so far. Just trying to bleed out the CTs for now, perhaps.
Smoke on the corner. I do love that smoke. I've talked about it in previous times that we've casted. I think at Cologne, if you want to go back and listen to a breakdown of the map, we did so in the playoff stages when the map first kind of made its appearance. Remember, it didn't make any really in the group stages, but when the vetoes came out, it certainly did. Shara, good headshot. Smiths and Scream go down. RPK, he found Blade before, but Shara is showing some poise. World Edit swings over to Turnpike and finds the last remaining player coming through to ramp. That's Body. And that smoke, the reason I like it so much on that corner is it covers off the player at Big Garage. Shocks, pretty easy kill for Waylander. And it also allows you to try and push down that entire position onto the catwalk to take over the top of this exact position that RPK's in now. A main. They'll go down there to Waylander, but this time they don't really utilize it. They throw it there, try and distract outside. They all go to ramp, and Shara holds fast.
Well, that was a round where Flipside come out on top once again. They're hitting their jewels and having these decent crossfires. I'm just predicting where G2 will be going overall. So it seems like they're actually getting some momentum here. CT side and map for sure, Matt. They need to be getting double figures here to stand a chance, I would say. And there still is a possibility. They win the rest of the rounds. They do need 8 in a row, but do need to be posting a real decent score here on the CD side. We know G2 are no slouch on that side either. So let's see what G2 are bringing to the table. The money's starting to dwindle for them after losing 2 in a row. You see Smiths, no AWP for him this time. To be fair, it hasn't had huge impact. He'll just be on the Tech 9 and setting up once again for some smokes towards outside by the looks of things. Let's see where they start to land. Those skylights, we mentioned before, we do that every single round. It does give you more options in terms of disguising your intentions.
So Smith says this line for corner, if I'm not mistaken. There's 2 ways to throw this. The other is behind the AC down on the lower roof. Or is his going to go a little bit further? No, his is corner. Okay, but that's bounced way too far. I'm not sure what he's intending with that one. I've never seen that lineup.
Yeah,
so
that's
yeah,
that's
entirely a miss. I think it's supposed to be a little bit closer. It's supposed to not hit the roof and go just over the catwalk land, so it blocks the gap that Markelov's trying to look through now. We're not looking at it, but anyway, that's a big miss. Blade, regardless, and Markelov will capitalize upon it. It's Smiths and RPK to go down. Interestingly enough, we're now 8 rounds concluded and 0 kills so far for Scream.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting. I guess in the first 5 rounds, it didn't really matter too much. They're winning the round regardless, but he's yet to have any real impact here. He's a player who expected to be lighting up the scoreboard with his AK-47, of course, and it's going to be about RPK and Smiths and Shocks at the moment. They're the ones delivering all the frags with Flipside. Finding some form right now, actually having some very decent rounds here. Actually quite convincing ones, I have to say, after that initial deficit. It's going to be Wild Edit back on the AWP, and he's going to be heading towards ramp once again, like I said, just to throw that smoke in the start to delay the rush of the terrorists. We're deciding to do that. But it will be a partial buy from G2 this round. Just going to be Tech 9s and some body armor as well. A couple of smokes. That suggested they're going to have some sort of plant play here. Maybe just 2 smokes out of the hut towards the bomb site itself and just try and use that as a tunnel to get themselves into that area. That was a traditional tactic in the previous iteration of Nuke. I haven't seen it too much in this one, but still obviously an option. You smoke just in front of the hut entrance and then one towards the site as well. It means one player can just run out and try and get a plant down with nothing else going on.
Lander. Oh no, that's a bit of a misplay. It still works out for him. He gets 1 kill plus the assist, but when he dropped down, he was intending to land on the roof. He caught the new ladder that's there, and it kind of threw his accuracy. Regardless, the weapons prevail. It's going to be now 4 rounds on the bounce for Flipside as they start to pull this back. So decent loss round bonus built up against G2, and they'll have money this time, including enough for an AWP easily. And smartly, they use it on RPK. They use RPK to buy it and throw it over because he's got the high roll and stacks of cash.
Yeah, hit the lion's share for sure. So it's going to be round number 10 here. Flipside definitely proving they do have something to bring to this map. It looked a little bit scary at the start, but that's 4 rounds in a row now. Well, they're not going towards round this start. He's actually looking for the pick towards Squeaky Door. And there's a gap there as well. The hole has been shot into it. So Shox needs to be very careful there as he jumps across. I think Wilder did spot him, but you can see Shox is aware this gap could be a problem for himself. Does he dare face again? Doesn't look like it. As Wilder starts to sneak in here, seeing if he can catch him off as he knows he's got the advantage of this door being a problem for the terrorist, but no one there for now. We do get into a default setup here. You see Wilder baiting in a player towards the Squeaky Door area as well, so hopefully fire a shot, bait a terrorist to come out, and then big spray down coming in, but that's going to be Blade opening things up. That's a kill towards Shox, a huge scalp to take. 5-on-4, Mark Lock looking some damage, and Scream still can't really find any footing into this game. He has got 2 kills in the previous round, but does get taken down early here. 5-on-3 for the CTs. RPK towards Garage on outside. And options are very limited. We have got Smith the AWP. He has to be the one that makes something happen here. As we said earlier, RPK finds the kill towards Markanov, who was alone towards outside.
BK is going to just wait for the smoke to dissipate as well. Doesn't want to advance too soon. They need the next pick and body. He gives it away. Good advance from Shara. Doesn't go all the way through. Just waits and lets it present itself just far enough forward that it'll catch them off guard, but not in such a position that he's vulnerable to giving up a pick and allowing it to go back to 3 versus 3. RPK walking in, sees one up at top of the smoke. Waylander surprisingly doesn't see him back the other way. That's not really one way, but I guess just obstructed enough. Regardless, Shara's done his job again. He'll make it now 3-1. Smiths will pull him back. Finally, he'll pick up the bomb in doing so. He's got the HP advantage over World Edit by a considerable margin, but World Edit has an AWP, and with 4 seconds, he better just save his. So head down. Pray to whatever gods he has that the next round goes more favorably, because it's 5 now for Flipside, but it is the CT side. As we say, we still favor that side of the map, and G2 picking up 5 rounds really early. I mean, pistol, first gun, simple as that, and they're in a really good position.
Yeah, absolutely. They're in a great position. 5-5 is still very beneficial towards them. The loss bonus racking up to its maximum, of course, as well. So they can buy around this AWP. It's not the best buy, but they have the AWP regardless. Smith, to me, hasn't had too much impact here. It's in the early rounds and the pistols and the anti-ecos. That's when he got the majority of his kills. Yet to really get rolling with the AWP and show he's the one actually going to be the playmaker, actually giving them space to move here. I haven't seen much in terms of the actual defaults towards outside as well. Like I said before, a lot of the teams today actually just smoking towards the back steps and getting in there towards lower, and then they go into their next piece from that. But it's just been around this upper bomb side for G2, trying to work the picks initially and then going in together with the flashbangs and the smoke towards outside. But we'll see whether Shock can find another pick here. Has another hole in the door to play with. And Wilder this time towards heaven. There's the smokes I'm talking about. So now this is a little bit more traditional from G2. I'm going to be sending RPK and Smith there. There's a couple of gaps there. They're not the deepest smokes. So crossing towards Secret could be a problem. As Wilder can see over the top of them, but they do manage to use a flashbang effectively and deny him any chance of picking up that first pick. So Smiths and RPK. This is more standard stuff now. Get players towards Secret, flush these areas out, work out if there's any CT presence. Then you can start to gauge what the best move is from this point. But towards ramp, Shara in a great position to lock down 2 if they do face at the same time.
Well, they've isolated Shara. This time he does not prevail. It's an AWP World Edit, close quarters, hits 1, swings for more, gets the second as well, but now it's up close and Scream. I like the knife choice, why not? Yeah, what else are you going to do?
Yeah, the thing is, like, he knows he's not going to kill him, but if you can get a stab in, that does like half damage, you know, that's something. He knew he was dead, so
that was caught. He just would have lunge knifed them, and it would have been game on. But RPK will pull back Blade. It's Markelov again, though, to rotate over and find RPK. It's down to just Smiths once more. This is all due to World Edit hitting lovely shots to start it off after losing Shara, but he's surrounded. Smiths caught out and eventually taken down. Waylander finding the kill. 5 seconds left on the clock regardless, so even if he picked up the bomb, it's not like he had the time to plant it. And they're bleeding out the clock quite well, Flipside, now as they get their 6th in a row. Yeah, that's actually pretty impressive. World Edit just picking up the round where his teammate dropped off. I thought that there was going to be a big spray down from Waylander there towards the ramp, and that position is normally good for one frag or two, but G2, even without the flashbangs, do manage to take him down, but get denied the entrance to that lower site. Obviously, such a powerful area for the terrorists to get. If the bomb goes down in this version of the map as well, it's very, very hard to retake indeed, but good awareness from World Edit. He seems to be absolutely everywhere for them right now. Another partial buy for G2. Bomb planted in the last 6 rounds, I think, so actually the bomb hasn't been planted once this game, Matt, so you know. It has, but after the rounds. Yeah, so right, yeah, they've been planted. It hasn't gone to the point where it's actually... It's exploded, exactly. Sure. Yeah, so it hasn't been the reason the round has been won. But these gun rounds, especially, they haven't actually got it down, and the ones they're losing, especially 7 or 6 in a row now, and what it does open things up. Not really much to work with G2. Tech-9s, PT-50s, and they have got a couple of smokes here. I think they'll throw in towards the garage area. Flashes go over. Looks like they're just trying to smother outside and see if they get anything going towards main entrance. That certainly helps as Blade drops to the Tech-9. I've screamed RPK chiming in as well. This is kind of interesting, but Markelov spraying 2 down. Now it is an equal situation. And Shoxy actually finds the kill towards Markelov. 2 versus 1 now. Shoxy and RPK looking to win the force buy, well, the partial buy situation, actually coming out on top as well. M4 from RPK to finish things off as well. So a round, it looks very unlikely, especially on a map like Nuke. You think with the long-range advantage, especially, G2 would get locked down in that situation as well. They go towards main entrance, find the first kill, and that's the problem with Tech-9. It's a momentum-based gun. If you get that first kill and actually surprise the CTs and catch them rotating as well, if you get close range enough, it can be almost impossible to lock them down. So Shoxy and RPK to finish things off there. The M404 headshot. As we go to 6-6 here. G2, like you said, although they lost 6 rounds in a row, still very positive scoreline for them considering the way Nuke is played at the moment. Yeah, I think the Tech-9 thing, people have kind of come to embrace it. They did nerf it a little bit. I remember that, I think it was about 2 years ago. It was insane, yeah, exactly. But it still has a mechanic that works for it. There's no question. It's a bit of luck with its spray pattern, but you just have to utilize it. Shara this time has to play efficiently. No rotation yet to Turnpike. It's just arriving now, and he needs to distract it long enough. He's gotten Scream, but he has to rotate away. That won't allow World Edit to peek freely, so they'll both go passive. Now it's in G2's hands. What do they want to do? And it looks like lower because they've already got 3 players down the ramp, around the corner. Blade finds Shocks, but immediately Shara goes down on entry from body. Bomb is there. The control room rotation coming over. It's Blade once more. Finally, he gets taken out, but it's given them the advantage, F3. And they've given up a round to G2 after 6 in a row, so they can reset them right here and now. Yeah, well, they've got the man advantage as well. The bomb's down. And the problem is, they've got a smoke, but Waylander finding that kill, that makes things almost impossible for Body at this moment. Towards the window room, he will be rotating towards the site, hoping someone faces towards him. I'm curious to see if a more gradual ramp, rather than those sudden stairs and that corner, would be more beneficial to the map, because that position is extremely powerful if a CT gets there. We see it used in crossfires. We see it used, obviously, right there, where you just can't see down it quick enough, and you already have to look at the vents. You're already coming around the corner if you go secret. I just think that if it was more gradual and didn't favor the headshot as much, I might like it more. The problem with that is that the terrorists have to use so much utility to get towards that backstep position, right? If you just smoke it off to the left, at least that crossfire is not even viable at that stage. You're just focusing on one side of that angle. I think it's just a case of, like, you have to use so much to get towards outside, you've got nothing left, and you want to be saving a smoke for the actual plant itself. So you take the risk there, and it's going to be quite unlikely there's going to be 2 CTs waiting for you there. It's obviously a very OP setup when it comes into fruition, but it's a big risk for the CTs as well to commit 2 players to that side of the map, especially if you're not 100% sure how many players are crossed. But yeah, definitely an interesting idea. Even in that case, though, yeah, I mean, even in that case, though, like it wasn't even that they put 2 players there, that he rotated down vents and then realized bombs there, I'll just sit here. So it's a very controlled peak. I don't know, I'm just wondering if there's an alternative to it. We have got the force buy here from G2. Like you said, they did get a reset in the previous round, so they're using the residual cash to see what they can do here. It's going to be 2 AKs, 3 Tech-9s. Smokes available as well. The smokes do come in once again, so they have landed correctly this time. And the CTs are adjusting accordingly. It's going to be Smith, though. He's only got the Tech-9 towards our side. Maybe a little bit of a bait from him, as he will be by himself for now. But some teammates going out towards Catwalk as well from Silo. So maybe a fast upper split here, as they are making their way towards Heaven. And Scream does drop down and take a lot of damage, but the kill comes in. Smith capitalizing there, taking out World Edit. Markelov inside of the main position right now has to find the AWP, and look at this, suddenly it's turned down to the one-on-one because immediately Scream comes out, gets the AWP shot, but Shara's brought this back against RPK. Bomb thankfully dropped down, is easily picked up by Scream. He knows Shara's in the upper sight as he got the kill toward heaven. So Scream, he'll start to rotate around, and he could actually go all the way through, well, he's gonna drop. I was gonna say, he could go all the way through radio and start to play mind games with the time against Shara, but Shara's not rotated off this upper sight yet, so this is actually going to be the better call. But he's getting closer to that vent, so he can take advantage of the rotation as fast as possible, and Scream's not gone down to the lower part of the site until just now. Shara, he'll hear the plant come through, realize it's lower, immediately go to the vent. But decontamination is where Scream's gonna watch himself. Does he go at the back of the vent though and catch him off? There's a chance he does. Flash, nope, looking the wrong way. Where's Scream? He spots him, but the AWP can't hit the shot as he's not aware that he was going to present himself from that position. As said, Shara goes in. He tries to take advantage of the close quarter proximity that the bomb has planted toward the open doorway, and the M4 is gonna take advantage. So that missed shot is the invitation, and Shara rotates accordingly.
Yeah, Shara had plenty of options there as well. As soon as that shot comes in, he knows he's got the advantage. He knows the bombers as well. He knows the exact position of Scream. And the problem is for Scream there as well, he actually had a smoke available. So he could actually smoked off towards decon room, or he could have smoked on the bomb, and he knows that orbs could be a real nightmare to try and defuse there. He actually just goes for the direct duel, sprays him down, Scream missing another shot there. Not known for his AWPing prowess. And potentially, if he does not taken the shot at all, he might have won the round because he wasn't going to check that area by the looks of things at all. So kind of giving himself away there, but it's going to be the last round here. Flipsid have won the half, so that 5-0 deficit hasn't proven to be as deadly as we might have thought it was. I expected GT to pick up a ton more rounds considering the form they were in, but Flipside showing they can turn up and play this map. Just 4 Tech-9s and 1 AK to go to round number 15 here. And Worlded, like I said, I was expecting to be a little bit more aggressive here on this map. Ramp's definitely an option to go for that first pick. It's quite safe in terms of getting the first kill and falling back with the teammates back up as well. Smokes towards outer once more.
And this one lands on the corner. So that's the one that I was talking about on the lower roof from the AC piping. That's thrown by Scream. I do really, really like that flash. It's very simple. I think everyone should learn it. Look how much that covers off. The whole back garage in the safe corner where the CTs often like to place an AWP. Can't see you proceed up catwalk, and it's used exactly like that. That's perfect from Scream in that sense. Drops onto the main, in through the A site, and it can help to split, distract the player as you walk in from HUD as well. Body does that late, gets 2 kills for it. And guess what? G2 pick up the round on Tech-9s, and that smoke is a large part of it. I think that's the most simplistic yet effective smoke that you can throw. So anyone who wants to learn a little bit about Nuke, who hasn't put the time into it, like a lot of the pro teams didn't for a long time, that smoke's very, very easy to learn.
I think GT looked a lot more solid when they were just focusing on upper bomb side, doing something very simple, going in together. When they were running the default, it seemed like getting picked off one by one, couldn't get much map control, they're going towards lower, getting picked off by Markelov, Waylander, Worlded. When they just showed, let's just go towards upper, let's concentrate on this side, they locked it down together. And with Tech-9s, 2 rounds and actually towards the end there. So still very decent half of them. 7 rounds on the T side of Nuke. That's going to be beneficial. And we'll see whether they continue that format and take the first map here. So we'll take a quick break. Do not go anywhere. We're back very soon.
Welcome back, everybody. We will start halftime number 2. Remember, 2 best of 1s this evening, starting out on Nuke. 0-3 is the map score for Flipside on this map thus far. And you know what? It may go 0-4. 7 rounds T-side for G2. It was 5 off the start, so first pistol round and first gun round made it a little bit easier, no less, but it's a hard job to try and recover from that without doing the same on the terrorist side.
Yeah, it's still possible for either side here. I think Flipside have the similar sort of momentum. There's no way they can't. There's no reason why they can't just get the pistol in the first gun round as well. But if you were to look at it in terms of the percentage chances, G2 have got a huge advantage. Like 7 rounds on Nuke side, on the Nuke T side is pretty godly, and we'll see whether they actually manage to continue their form. Nuke is a map, especially on the CT side, they seem very strong on, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did pick up the CT pistol here. We saw some innovation though from G2. We discussed it. We knew it was coming. It still worked out for them. I'm wondering what Flipside. This is the side I wanted to see them on. The CT side, sure, most teams can play it. It's not necessarily the deciding factor. We've seen plenty of teams have strong CT sides. It's the T side. That's when you start to have troubles. That's when you need to start developing these innovations, and we'll see what they bring to the table here. So far, 3 sets of armor, and Blade, he's got the smoke grenade and flashbang. Welded yet to buy, so let's see what he brings to the table. I assume he'll bring some utility. Actually not. So this could be another very simple strategy. This could be almost a mirror of what GT do. This is the exact same buy they go with. It's 1 smoke, 1 flashbang in the hands of Shock. So the rest of his teammates go towards ramp. I'd be surprised if it's the same thing, but you never know. We never know, Matt. I would doubt it, but...
Let's do it. Same thing, why not? Oh yeah, that was clever. I like it. Let's do it.
Whose voice is that?
Don't know. Yours?
It's not going to be the same. My voice is not sound like that. My voice is bass.
Because you're all about that bass. No treble. Well, that it. He's all about that trouble because he's not hitting a shot over toward ramp. 3 players stacked up from G2, so guess what? Even if they wanted to do the same thing, G2's entirely denying it by having that presence. They're going to get aggressive as well. Smiths, he's already got 1, needs to find another, does so, and Body follows it up. They're stuck inside the squeaky room. Shara, he's the last alive, 1 versus 2. However, they're isolated. Body's going to get it. Bomb was always down inside of the lobby as well.
That's one of my favorite Nuke strategies on the CT pistol. You get there, nice and aggressive. It's a bit audacious. It can be detrimental when the team goes towards outside, but you push 3 towards ramp. The objective, you don't necessarily have to go absolutely nuts. You're just looking for that first kill as a unit and trading and getting the man advantage. You keep going until you get that advantage and you fall back. G2 just capitalizing there. They come in on top, and you can see Flipside weren't really ready for it, and themselves stuck towards the squeaky room as well. And Smith gets the first kill, and then his teammates just come and just knock them all down after it. So Flipside, whatever they had in mind, there's not a possibility. And that's a really nice way to shut down a strategic team. We discussed this on the desk earlier, especially on these sort of maps where set pieces are often used. It's actually very beneficial to go and find that first pick and just disrupt anything they were planning on doing. So nice stuff from G2. They do take the pistol here and tie things up, and Scream, he's starting to find some form now.
He's
Headshot
back
towards Worded.
He's back. He never went anywhere, but he's back anyway. Oh, that's just unfortunate. He thinks he's being so clever, Shocks. He gets behind the smoke to avoid the player in the window, but guess what? Exposed to Squeaky. And Waylander walks in, takes his head off. They now go lower, split this up. Body spots 1 inside of the vents, but has to watch the door to his right because as he's occupied trying to take Shara down, who dances well enough to win a date at the prom, he gets taken out by Waylander. His body was so distracted. So it's going to have to be impressive to hold this bomb off, no less, but they've done well to get it planted. They'll get more money for themselves as we go to 8-8. G2, though, as we said, picking up 2 pistols now in this game, should be able to wrap this up. Should, all things considered.
Should, yeah, that's the opposite word. But Flipside do get the bomb down. It will be the full EK going into the next one, but we'll see what they can do with this. We're going to have a plan down to next. That's definitely beneficial to the first gun round, but that kind of balances things out now. They will have cash available going into this one, but like I said, it's very unlikely. They'll probably get some P250s to try and force the bomb down towards the vent or maybe fast ramp. There's no real reason to invest too much into this round. It's a chance for GT now to keep 5 players alive, start swelling their own bank account. They have taken the lead here, 9-8. And there's going to be 4 rifles and 1 UMP. The UMP in the hands of RPK. So Smiths presumably will begin the AWP, but for now, he'll just be on the rifle. They'll probably roll with that until he dies, and when they need to bring it out, need to adjust. RPK will get close and personal with this as well. Watch that ladder. It is tricky, actually, to try and play that drop strategy at the doorway now with that ladder there, because if you touch it, your aim goes wonky and haywire and worse than mine.
But he's going to go in toward the door instead. Takes the fight directly to them. He only gets one with that SMG. To do that. He's got the information, but Blade, he's dropped down and got an M4. Even better for him. However, there he is, greeted by Smiths.
Yeah, it's good rotation from him. As soon as you hear and you're playing the ramp from position, as soon as you know the vent is a possibility, you need to be going denying that potential plant situation as well. Smiths doesn't still deny the plant, but he does stop the threat toward that lower bomb site. Scream now coming in from upper. We said his aim starting to come into its own, but 3 versus 3 is still possible for the terrorist side as they do face, and that's another crisp headshot from Scream. 3 versus 2. This should be a round that Flipside can't hold off, but you never know. Shara in a decent position here to find the next kill. Or not.
Not at all. Waylander, though, with this UMP picked up. Can't do anything with it. 2 straight bomb plants, though, for F3.
Yeah, better than expected for sure. Blade getting those vents, finding 2 kills. Bomb plant as well. That's actually pretty beneficial. You can see they've got tons of cash going into this first gun round. He got 7k on Markelov, well done it, 6-2, so they can get a full buy here. There's no holding back at all as we go into round number 4. And you can see Smiths, like I said, unless someone died, I didn't think I'd see the AWP this round, but they've dropped a couple of lives there. So he will be bringing out the AWP first round. I'll be interested to see where he decides to take it. What did it? Definitely a very deadly player in terms of when he's in good form, he can be great for Flipside and finding those opening picks. He's definitely an asset to the team in that respect. And Smiths, similar sort of mentality, but looks at things here. Smoking his teammate, actually going to be boosting him up onto that OP position inside the ramp room. That means he can just leave him there by himself. But what at it? And he's towards the hut, trying to see if he can do anything with it. But Shox seems to be aware of the situation.
So flash out now as well to try and catch them off. Triple smoke out this time. They'll use the same one on the catwalk flip side, as well as 2 more toward the front of the garage as well. That'll totally allow them to walk towards Secret for free, which they've now done. We'll see if Waylander can find the entries around the corner. Potential flash being bounced down. Nope, they're just gonna let the AWP go first. World Edit, he'll clear the corners. Faithful on the AWP. Checks it. There's this first set of stairs. That one's traditional. This is the angle, which we know no one's there, but this is the angle that can be hard to gauge now, as it is such a problematic headshot potential for the CT advantage, and it's nonetheless cleared out, and no one rotating over. RPK's now got the information. Okay, well, they find Markelov late, who is waiting for that information, but they got the information. No one's at ramp. Guess what? Or radio or lobby for that matter. Guess what? It's got to be lower. And they set up for it. Body already in position. Drops the bomb down. Smiths just has to hold the doorway. And it's going to be World Edit. He's got a shot, but not one to take down Smiths. It's going to be Waylander that gets the only kill so far for Flipside. And Shara, he's lurked late enough. Spots a gun barrel. He should be able to get one. Ooh, 1 kill out of this. Not even. All right, does get it, but 23 HP, round over, I'm afraid. 6 seconds left. He's got to stay alive as well.
That was actually really nice from G2. They're actually happy to sacrifice that outer area and say, okay, well, they're going to be delayed. They're not going to have to run straight towards lower. They're going to take their time.
Oh, that's so risky. I don't know why he goes for that. He's got an AK already. Just stay where you are.
Just to finish the point, G2, like, they're more than happy to let them have the outside area. Flip side, they're going to take some time to actually flash out lower. They can't just run straight to the bomb side there. G2 reacts quite nicely. They go towards the lobby. More or less in these tactics, the terrorists are always going to have a lurking player towards the lobby area as well. If they can find him, lock him down, they can then say, okay, it's definitely going to be a lower plan on this side. Rotate the AWPs over, have that control from the ramp room as well. Flip side is lacking utility to actually smoke those positions off, and G2 coming out on top. It's 11-8. Another eco for Flipside, and Scream once again. The 1 bullets coming thick and fast now. Round number 5, and it's going to be unarmored players against him as well. There's a revolver on that. It's back.
Yeah, why not? It never really left because I still have it equipped, but oh, I think I did put the Deagle back on. Either way, Shara, he's got 1, make it 2. P250's the one to find the kills, not the R8. And this is the most awkward thing I've ever seen. Picks up an M4, decides to take off the silencer, can't do anything with it, and unfortunately, there's no voodoo magic within the barrel of that gun. I think he was trying to summon Bahamut, but it didn't work.
Round number 6 comes in.
I usually get killed when I'm waiting for that to happen with a, big guard on.
Double up setup? I don't know what you're talking about.
Just trying to Fantasy 7 references.
Right, okay. I thought it might be.
Yeah.
I haven't played it, so I couldn't join in with the fun there. But anyway. Double up setup for the CTs now. Just adjusting things. They have had 5 rounds in a row on the CT side, so why not just kind of throw some different ideas out there. And we'll see what round 6 brings for Flipside here. Back in terms of a full buy. What did it back on the AWP as well, so we'll see what he can do. Open up the map. No real presence against him for now. Screaming towards the main entrance. It's actually the AWPer, or AWPers I should say, playing a little bit more defensively. We have got Smiths towards the back of Garage, that very defensive position, just to catch anyone towards the silo area. And Shocks, he's a little bit more aggressive towards the ramp area. He's actually just holding for any one player to be at that sort of area right on the screen right now. He goes for 1 kill, and he has the exit strategy to fall back. So that's a pretty nice sort of setup. And Smiths, he saw an arm. He knows something's afoot.
Saw an arm, knows something's afoot. Is that like some sort of Henry G pun?
Yeah, it's good, right?
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was all right. Would have been better if you intended it. Smiths is going to...
Who said I didn't?
Rotate back. Smokes out. Again, they get squeaky. But remember, last time they did this, they were so clever about it. They were so careful about it. And yet G2 rotated accordingly. Body's going to try and peek above the doorway to spot them, but he's hesitant. Shuts the door. They'll have heard that. They'll have spotted it. And he walks up. Manages somehow to hit the shot on World Edit before going down. I'm impressed by that alone. But this is the exact crossfire. So they get the early rotation. They get Screamy in the position where he can walk back up. Now, it's not quite utilized in the same regard because Body went down sooner, but Scream's still able to pick up a kill from it. So you can kind of see what I was getting at with it. It would have been nicer to see it actually materialize. Regardless, it's a 3 versus 3. Bomb's going to rotate back to upper. This is the right mid-round adaptive call that Flipside needed to do, and it's Blade, the one with the bomb, not surprisingly, that makes it.
Yeah, CTs with no utility apart from 1 flashbang and a double AWP on the retake as well. This will be incredibly difficult. Shocks dropping as well. That's one of the AWPs down. At this point, I'd probably think about saving. It's going to be such a difficult affair. You can see how far removed they are from this situation as well. Smith's smoked out towards lobby. He'll be hedging his way towards the hut area. It's going to have to come down to Scream. He's going to need headshots. He's going to need them quickly as well. As Smiths does find the first kill there, and Scream chiming in from an entrance. Just 1 player remaining, and somehow they do it. How have Flipside given that one away? It looked like they didn't really have to work too hard for it as well. G2 just coming in together, pre-aiming every angle and just finding the kills. I thought, surely you've got to be holding up, holding the crossfires until they start touching the bomb. You've got a player towards heaven as well. You've got vision at that plant, a player towards main entrance. Surely there's got to be some sort of play off each other. You're both facing the same time and giving them opportunities to find the kills. Make them work for at least. Get someone fake defusing anything apart from just facing, giving them the easy kills. That was a situation I thought G2 were out of. I was about to say you probably want to save at this point, but apparently not. Flipside want to keep facing and give it away. Round number 7 comes in. There is another buy available after the plant. Maximum loss bonus, of course, will still be rolling for Flipside, but the double AWP setup for the CTs is as well. It's going to be Waylander towards outside by himself. This is the 1-player setup. I discussed it before in the analysis test with Yanko. The idea you can send 1 player here instead of multiple ones. It keeps the CTs guessing as to what's actually going on. When upper execute comes in, he potentially move players away from certain areas and isolated them. As you can see right now, Shocks by himself towards the ramp room. He misses that first shot, but has an exit strategy, as we discussed before. So at this point, gets himself to another defensive position, gets that first kill, but Smith seems to be coming in here thick and fast. He actually gets 2 shots with the AWP, and that's going to be the round lockdown as well. He rotates in towards ramp. Looks like Flipside had that area on lockdown, a very valuable part of the map as well, and they just can't do anything with it. It's going to be a 4 versus 2 now, Waylander and World Edit. Not much to play for. They still have a minute on the clock. That's something to work with, but World Edit, surely he's going to take him down. Smith spots the gun barrel and punishes him for it as well. Waylander outside, dead now, of course. 14-8 comes in.
Yeah, well, we said 8-7, 7 rounds T-side. G2 would be in a good spot. Apparently, they don't have to do much. You can pull a Kevin Magnuson and let off the gas to save your tires. Even if you don't understand how to do it, you have to ask your engineer. Yes, I'm calling you out, Denmark. But they can coast to the finish line because they do this now, despite the accumulative lost round bonus. There's not going to be much money really on F3's side. They've bought into this one fully with AKs in full utility. We'll see if they can finally come up with a clever strategy. Not that they haven't been trying, not that they haven't cleared off the map correctly and gotten towards secret. It's just that G2 knows how to react correctly in each case.
That's been a really actual interesting thing to see. Right? We don't think Nuke at that kind of map, being able to reclaim sort of areas, but the lobby especially, they are reading it very nicely and actually shutting down options for Flipside in these clutch situations. So it's quite refreshing to see G2 coming up with these kind of innovations in terms of the CT side. We know they're very good on Dust 2, we talk about that all the time, but Nuke, it seems like they've got a great setup here and understanding of when they need to be pushing and when not to be. So coming into the dying sectors here for Flipside, need to start finding some rounds. They're yet to post anything on the second half. It's currently 7-0, and it's looking like they're going to be struggling here going forward as well. Not much left to play with. 1 smoke in the hands of Markelov. But they have done damage towards Smith, but they smoked out a lot of key areas. There it is. The first kill comes in.
And you can tell they have a clue of what they want to do. Like, this has to be one of the most frustrating Nuke games for them because they're just getting... It's mid-round calling that they're winning on, G2, because, again, here you see the corner smoke, you see smokes outside. They've got control of that part of the map, and G2, they're willing to relinquish it. Even Markelov knows his role. Throws the nade, goes down, clears out lobby to get information, and he gets the kill here. Finally, they've got a position where they could pick one up.
Yeah, still gonna have to work with that Wayland. This kill's huge. If he doesn't get it, it should be some sort of revitalization for G2, but finally he does go down just after Shocks now. 3 versus 1 after finding the kill on towards Waylander. Surely Flipsid can't give this one away. You don't need to do anything, guys. Hide, make him touch the bomb, then face together. That's it. No one has to try and kill him. They've got so much money anyway, it's not really be a huge factor. But let's see what Shocks can do here. He's got position towards Garage. He's just trying to take players down with him. He knows the terrorist cache is going to be weak going forward. If he can find a couple of kills, that's definitely going to help him out. But Shara looking like he'll exit towards mid-entrance, and Shocks, this is all he wants right now. Take a couple of people down with him. Gets the opportunity, shooting him in the back, can't nail the shot. But at this point, he knows he's going to be deadly, just in terms of the bomb going off in that radius, but it's going to be looking like he'll get out in time. Markelov desperately trying to get out. Low HP. All goes down to 7, but just about survives. There we go then. The first round found for Flipsid. The problem is now the reinvestment of all the grenades. If they were to lose this one, that's pretty much game over. They'll have no weaponry to actually take into round number 10.
I agree with that Peke in chat. I don't know if that's how I say his name.
What do you say?
Don't worry about it. You're British. You wouldn't understand.
Wouldn't understand what?
Just something about Hamilton.
Oh.
But Flipside have survived that potential disaster, I said, where they'd have to force buy on round 15. They've managed to get up more guns. Again, they go for these AKs, and let's see if they go for the same execution. There's a little bit more, I guess, attention toward the lobby to start this off. Waylander will try and take over outside with the smokes now down. So same 3, but Markelov doesn't drop in quite as quickly. We saw the boost as well over toward the ramp. Now that'll also allow for, I believe, Smiths with the AWP to play more of a passive role and rotate sooner toward this B site. Smith's already down at the bottom of the ramp. He's going to try and wait for this, but F3 cleanly into control room. That could be a bit of a difference because they haven't gotten that far uncontested so far. Bomb planted, and they've got the crossfire covered. Scream. He's making it awkward tonight, isn't he?
Well, still 4-on-4 here. Terrorists have got the bomb down lower, though. It's a very advantageous position to be in. The CTs have to cover so much ground, so many positions to actually flush you out and work out where you'll be holding this position from. You can see them coming in now, smoking off towards window room, and all 3 players actually towards the ramp area as well. So RPK coming in first. They have used their smokes quite nicely here. This is the start of the retake, and they do have a fake defuse, but this terrorist surely coming out on top here. Panicking though as they run through the smoke.
They are kind of panicking indeed. And now the problem is that they've got to find their way back through that smoke to find the defuse. Waylander gets RPK. Okay, smoke's gone in time. Easily done for Waylander. I thought it was going to be a little bit closer than that, but there was A, more of a gap, and B, it was already dissipating. So Flipside pick up 2 in a row. We're not done just yet. G2, their money also gone. They're going to have to sit back and allow a potentially 11th round to come up for F3. And at this point in time, now that they're starting, like it seemed like with the execution there and the mid-round being the issue, that can only last so long for G2. Flipside have adapted or figured out just enough now in these last 2 rounds by utilizing outside. I'd like to see it change, potentially something more aggressive, maybe even a rotation through ramp over towards Secret from a CT player to catch them off before they even get down the stairs. And this time, knowing the situation, they don't even go for utility, straight up picks with the AKs.
Yeah, this is the point they know they've actually broken the economy. That first kill signals it. So they can actually hold back here. No one needs to commit. They have the man advantage. Wait for the CTs to make the next mistake. This could be it. Shocks comes towards Secret. He nails the headshot towards Waylander, but Waylander ready. He was the one actually guarding his teammate there. So maybe a little bit of a blunder. He went down, and this is starting to fall apart now. RPK coming in from the back steps area, backed up by Scream as well. Seemed like Flipside had some tunnel vision after losing that first frag, and now they're up against it. Good news for them, as I guess, that no one has actually recovered a weapon here from the fallen terrorists. So still a big advantage for them. This kill is huge. Blade manages to find it and brings it back to a 2-on-2.
Body, 1, 2, what is that?
Okay.
The Deagle's just absolutely lovely. I was gonna say he's in a position where he's pretty much gonna be outmanned here because they're setting up for the trade peak. Wasn't even building that up to be a play, and he just smokes them both.
Let's get a slow-mo of that. I want to see it again. That was pretty beautiful. I liked it. But yeah, G2 somehow picking up that round. It seemed like Flipside got the opening pick. There's nothing to work with the G2 side, and somehow they find the crossfires, and Flipside overexposing themselves potentially there. Just running that default, trying to slow things down. I thought that was tied up, but that could be the round that ends this one. As Flipside can see, they've got 2 pistols going into it, 3 AKs, and G2 with a ton of cash as well with the AWP. So it seemed like a comeback potentially could have been on the cards there. It's a big round body to pick up with that Deagle, and he continues his good form. As we're going to round number 11 there. AK-47 headshot through the smoke, spraying wildly, does take down Blade.
Well, dead it. He's already got outside again this time from G2, being passive once more. They'll catch out Smiths early, but it's back to the 4 versus 4. Second player, he'll confront Scream out the window at Lockers, but gets pushed back. Thinks about a repeat, oddly enough, and it might have worked as World Edit was going for the reload, but watch to his right. World Edit's got company outside with him. It's going to be, I believe, Waylander. Yes, it is. So they're going to set up this crossfire. They walk in. RPK's caught. He's late to rotate over, but Shocks pulls Markelov back. He's got well, doesn't. I was going to say regain the control of Hut, but unfortunately, Waylander coming through late. And they're going to take this on the outside aggression again. So G2 get their 15th round. Okay, that's great. They can sit back. They can relax a little bit. They haven't built up the bank enough to justify a full buy in this one just yet because, well, let's face it, they only need one more round. Might as well save for the buy.
Here we go. Here's the slow-mo I requested. Production team on point as usual. Boom.
That's actually so impressive.
Yeah, that's kind of sick. Well played, body. 15-11 now, and it's going to be, like you said, there's no reason to force buy here. Don't get yourself in a rut. There's still 4 rounds to go, you know, before they get to the overtime. Let's make sure we finish this one properly and not in a force buy situation. So there's going to be some deagles here, and we've seen what these players can do with those weapons, so maybe still a few more twists and turns in this round. I don't think it's going to be smooth sailing. Completely flip side here, but oh, what it once again, they do find the first pick. That's towards Smiths this time, but RPK rotating back towards the secret area, and Shocks will be there as well.
Scream finally does hit it. I was going to say trying to replicate body, but does manage it in the end. So he's got the shot against Shara. Now he'll fall away. Smartly so, as they have a man advantage again, but Waylander's spotted just enough for Shocks' head, and he's got 2. That Tech 9 reigns supreme with its accuracy and movement. It's going to be Blade to catch Scream last, and we go to 12 rounds now for Flipside. So they've made a contest out of this, no less, but G2 again. Now they can buy full guns out, just have to cross the finish line. That's it.
RPK leading the fragging charts here. 27 kills for him. We've discussed him as being a solid player recently. Like, he's actually just been up there, top of the scoreboards, very good at exchanging frags, and actually just the first one to go in, happy to do it, and just hitting the shots to count as well. Nothing amazingly flashy most of the time, but just been really impressive as of late in terms of what he's doing for G2 in his role. It's going to be round number 13 here. It's 3 in a row required for Flipside to take us to overtime. You can see the money isn't fantastic for G2. You can see they've got no head armor, not a big deal against the AKs, but 2 Famases. Only 1 incendiary as well and 1 kit. So still an advantage for Flipside in terms of the buy here. Let's see what kind of strategy they bring to the table. So smoke's going towards outside. Whether they use them is yet to be seen. It's going to be the default smokes to take away all the vision. Some Molotovs towards the secret area as well. And they will be indeed capitalizing towards this area. Flashbang coming in. It's trying to cross over towards the secret area potentially as well. The bomb will be there. So you'd assume it should be some sort of lower split considering. They've got 1 player towards lobby as well. It's Markelov watching for that reaction. Exactly that. When you see him screen now, he's seeing if G2 want to push towards ramp once again.
Markelov will flash once, twice, but not thrice, because let's face it, you can't do that in Counter-Strike. You're not allowed to buy 3 flashes. But if you picked one up, Henry,
Yep.
he could have done so. Perhaps he should have, because Smiths walks back up. That's the opening pick. G2, is it enough to finally let them stabilize this as well? With 30 seconds, it definitely puts pressure, onto Flipside. But once more, they've taken outside, they've taken off secret. Shocks doesn't spot the gun barrel. Shara, he's going to walk right into this. Oh, but nearly turns around and catches him off. Shocks will switch to the AK. Quick drop takes Waylander as well. Blade may have found body, but he's got to find a lot more, and he does get at least 1. But Scream's traded it out. It's 1 versus 3. Bomb is planted in World Edit. He's at the control room, but the glass broken. Scream knows he's there. And guess what? It's over. G2, well, they'll pick up map number 1. The best of 1, keep in mind. So that's a point for them in the season. As Flipside come close, but now will fall to 0-4 with an overall record on this map.
Yeah, you have to remember that both halves of this map is G2 picking up both pistols, getting those huge leads as well. 5-0 on the first half, and was it 7-0 on the second? So those things considered, obviously those horrible things happen to a team, but the gun rounds, especially for Flipside, are actually pretty convincing. They seemed like they had a serious understanding of the T side, especially got themselves in a position where they could have won it, but that round where Body gets the double kill with the deagle, I felt like that was probably the final point. That got them to match point, and then it kind of fell apart from there. But still, had they won a pistol, could have been a different story. So that's still promising going into the next map.
Well, with that said, there's the team we were waiting for.
That's the end of it? Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Wow.
Solid throw, Henry. I didn't think you knew you was throwing, but you were throwing, bro. All right. Well, welcome to the desk. A bit of a startling way to see us there. We were ready, at least, guys. We're always ready.
Yeah, almost.
for some analysis here. Let's break it on down. Again, there's been a theme. T sides have been fairly good for G2. Unfortunately, that's been in contrast to fairly poor CT sides. Let's talk about this first half and how G2 did definitely put up a very respectable total on T.
I think it's, you know, when we see teams rack up a lot of rounds on the T side, more often than not, it's because they win the pistol round and probably either the first gun round or they lose the first gun round, but then win the following round and reset the CT's economy. And that's what happened for G2 here. They win the pistol, they win the first gun round as well. They're up to a 5-0 start. And from that point on, you would expect them to maybe do a bit more, but then they fall back to the let's go yard and let's go ramp. And CT's, it seems that all teams have figured how to counter that on the CT side. And in the end, a respectable first half, but in a best of one, winning both pistols is really going to mean a lot, especially on a map like Nuke.
Yeah, and I really like G2 has some nice upper hits too. I mean, they would smoke off yard and then have one of the rafters, and then basically have people come through main. And the timing between how they came through main and how they pop flashed through the windows was spot on, and they would get the entries and get the control of the site. So, yeah, good stuff, and obviously good enough for them to build that cushion they needed for the second half.
There we saw RPK rolling back the clock, as you put it. As we
rolling
were
back the years.
Rolling back the years.
It's Henry's go-to phrase.
Another.
There are a few of those so far as well. He should use them in his throws. They actually might know that he was throwing to the next segment. But okay, so we went across then towards the CT side here for G2, and a little bit rougher there for them as well. A little bit of back and forth stuff here. Obviously, Shox was one of the players languishing with some ping issues there as well. Still managed to give a good account of himself there, but got a bit close in the end there. So 12 rounds for a Flipside coming up. They managed to stabilize.
I think also has to be said, you know, pointed out from Flipside's point of view, is that Shara had a pretty solid map there, had a lot of impact kills, and also looking at the scoreboard, you saw World Edit sitting at like around 10 mark, and then, you know, Shara around the 20 mark. Yeah. So it's not something, you know, you would expect it to be the other way around, right? So definitely interesting. And just the fact that he was getting a lot of kills that had a high impact in the rounds that were played out.
Crucial frags. You've definitely got an opinion about World Edit, sort of how he plays from game to game there. I mean, what are your... That's a nice way. That's a nice way to put it.
We all do. We all have a
What are your thoughts on that as well? Because we did get a few opportunities to see him in action. The rounds where he was sort of getting those frags, maybe not high impact, but obviously still impressive work with the AWP when he had it in his hands. He did have some struggles here as well. Can you tell us where that maybe originated from for him?
I mean, it's hard to be effective with the op on the T side, right? Where World Edit is a bit of an aggressive player. He can go for those openings for a bit more risky plays on the T side. You can't really do that on a map like Nuke. So his effectiveness is basically diminished by the structure of the map itself. So I think that's maybe one of the reasons.
Okay, so definitely not. We're not pointing to inconsistencies in general here from him. It's just obviously
I think a lot of made operators struggle on Nuke actually. I remember, for example, I'll always saying that he hated playing op on Nuke T side, just because it's, like you said, it's very hard to create openings. It's really hard to dictate plays, and that's what those kind of playmaker operators like to do.
Right. And even if you want to play op on the CT side, you're often the first to meet a contact push. If the Ts are going for yard, or you know they're smoking up those rafters well, it's going to be a little bit hard to get a good vantage point in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's very static on the CT hopping as well. I mean, there's some options you could obviously play around the CT containers and the garage and stuff, but then there's a lot of risk involved with that.
I always enjoyed playing CT side op on Nuke, because I think it's a map where you don't really want to,
going down
to
a memory lane now.
For the double op. You want to go for the one op, but move him around, right? I feel that there's a lot of stuff you can do. Yes, you can be aggressive early on. Outside, you get an early kill, but then you can do things like rotate towards ramp, right? And watch it from hell and have a player hiding in the corner and go for different setups. Because the CTs are so slow in taking yard control and getting to a bomb site, you can move your opera around, and by the time they adjust, they won't expect you in a different position. So I feel that there's a number of positions you can alternate on the CT side with the AWP.
Or play hot if you wanted to. We've seen that. JW was pretty good at that at one point.
So you can.
Why not? JW does what JW wants.
Yeah, it's not exactly.
Bad example.
He's not exactly writing the textbook for AWPers, I think, to follow there as well. But I mean, you can pivot well with an AWP on that CT side there as well. So G2 do get over the line here. It's a decent performance from them, it's safe to say. But we do still have one more map to come from them as well. It's going to be Train, but before we do that as well, I want to remind you guys that we've got more games to come for the rest of the week, and obviously in the NA side of things, and you can get involved in those and see what's coming up on the Score Esports app. It's available, of course, for your iPhone device or for your Android one. Pretty straightforward by now. You pretty much know how it is. I'm going to tell you anyway. So get on that one. You can download it, of course, from your respective app stores and use it to keep ahead of the rest of the crowd in terms of your esports know-how. We're going to go throw to a break, and when we return, we're going to start to break things down a little bit more as we move into Train for the last match of the night.